She polices the yard.
Yep.
She barks at dogs.
Yes.
She guards the balls as resources.
Herds.
Herds
the balls.
Herds the balls. And we could keep going on. We could list these side effects. Basically, what happens, and then what we're seeing with her is she's not doing the things. She's not doing the things that her owners are complaining about, because here there's a different system in place, right? There's different rules and there's different consequences for behaviors. So she's cleaning up her own behavior because she knows it's on the table to have clear, consistent consequences, right? Because we did the e-collar training. She is aware that these behaviors might not be wanted without us saying anything. Meaning her owners might have told her they don't like it before. She knows that it's possible that we don't like it, so what she's doing is she's looking at those choices and saying, I'm not going to do that, because if I do something in this environment that the humans don't approve of, there will be consequences, right? So she's just weighing her options, like you said, Julie, right? It's interesting. It's relationship based. It's her relationship to us. It's her relationship to this environment. Back home, she might try it, but here's the beauty of post-training with your dog. You have the ability now to correct and direct, which is an ability that we didn't have before, otherwise we wouldn't be here. Correct and direct. So if we see something we don't like, we can correct it, and then we can tell them what to do instead, what we'd like them to do instead. If we do that throughout the dog's day, then we're able to shape the dog and weed out the stressful or unwanted behaviors, right? Before training, we try to do that, but it's not effective because, one, maybe the training's not there so the dog doesn't fully understand what you're saying, and two, there's not enough consistent consequences. You're not able to give a consequence immediately from a distance in this magical way like you can with the e-collar. The dog knows that if you're going to give a consequence to them, you have to catch them first and things like this. So they're more willing to play with the boundaries. As soon as there's e-collars involved, it's a whole nother game, okay? They understand that you don't have to be anywhere near them. They understand that correction can come without them seeing it. So they understand, but they also understand that it's the behaviors they choose that causes the correction. So they're actually in control of avoiding corrections. But this is part of the stage where a dog who used to have a plethora of bad choices now is living in an environment with this kind of system, right? With these boundaries, with these consequences. And now you see a dog going through the phases of saying, can I do this? Okay, can I do this? And just carefully seeing what is on the table and what's off the table. And you know, it's kind of like walking on eggshells. The dog's now very aware of their choices and they're trying to adjust their behavior. So this isn't a permanent phase for her. She would transition through this into being confident and into knowing exactly what is on the table, what's off the table, and exactly what the consequences are for her choices. But we're seeing a dog who's not providing us opportunities to correct because she's self-correcting. And this is the thing. That's the beauty of the e-collar work mixed in with the relationship dynamic work that we do that is very much kind of like a lot of dog whispering techniques use that, where it's very relationship based. So you have your relationship with your dog, which helps you influence them, and then also the environment and the rules within the context of the situation. You throw the e-collar on top of that, the dog understands that you can correct them at any time, and you don't have to have a leash or anything. It just is that simple, it changes the game. So we see dogs like this come in and they clean up their behavior on their own, just based off from that fact alone, that we have this relationship. Now, doesn't mean she can't mess up. So you see I'm trying to push it out of her, I'm trying to see if she'll slip up. She's not though, good. But she's struggling. When I say struggling, what do I mean by that? She's shaking, okay? So you see this, okay? Now, let me tell you, this is the process that I was telling you about, that she's going through. This process, this is exactly what's going on, why we see a dog do this, okay? This is a dog who's in the middle of changing her old associations for the new expectation, okay? So the new expectation will become the new association, and it'll have the behaviors that we've chosen to be with it. But until it's taken over, she's doing the hard work of self-regulating. So she's seeing an old behavior that she might do in a specific situation, and she's stopping herself and adjusting to the criteria that I expect. So she's fighting the urge to do the old, and trying to do the new, right? So we see this vibration. And what happens over time, as we sit here and continue to do this in this situation, she starts to even out and she starts to relax and she won't be vibrating because she's submitting to the situation and the new behavioral choices that she's allowed to make or that she is making that's working, let's say. And then what happens, you do this a few times, what happens is you just see a dog adjusted to the new behaviors and the new association. This is what I do in this situation now, and it's all over. But this is the transition from going from, I used to do this behavior over and over again to now I'm stopping myself and I'm doing the new expectation, which is to be polite or to, right now, to just lay on the bed and relax. And so there's this, that's the process. Her belief system has changed and now she has to go through the process of changing her behavioral choices, okay? So that's what we're seeing. And so this shaking, as long as it's followed up in a good program where we keep giving her the experience she needs to develop, is a good sign because it shows impulse control. It shows that she's operant to the rules. She understands that her behavior affects the outcome. Okay? So now we just see a girl who's doing good. She's trying to do good. All right? So that's what we're seeing. We're not seeing, she's never policed the yard once. She's never done it. She's never overcorrected another dog. She hasn't barked at the balls or hurted them or anything. And if you know, we can keep going on because people say, well, my dog jumps, we do all this. Once the foundation is set, meaning we have a recall, we have a stay, and we can correct, and the dog understands that there's no leash involved, and you can be way across the field and it can still happen. Once we have that, and we have our relationship going, we see all the things that we complain about fade. And if they do come up, they come up briefly and then they're corrected easily and they go away. We don't see, those are jumping, barking, chronic whining, counter surfing, tearing up property destruction, digging holes, marking in the house. All this stuff is relationship, okay? If a dog sees you a certain way and they understand that if they do things you don't like, you will give them consequences they care about, they avoid doing things you don't like. And this looks like, what this then looks like is a dog who is trying to please you. And that's what we want. We want a dog who thinks it's in my benefit to please this human. That's it. When they're around, my whole demeanor changes because I just want to walk around their boundaries politely. Okay? That's how it starts. That's how it needs to start. That's natural. That's what dogs do to each other. Okay? And so she's going through it. She's never had this type of relationship with other dogs because there's boundaries that she's not allowed to boss them around. And she hasn't had it with a human either, where she actually has to 100% follow the human. So the adjustments are being made. She's older, she's an adult, so the adjustment time typically takes a little longer, okay? So she's got 4 weeks here instead of 3. Anyway, she loves having a leader though. Let me tell you, she loves, it makes her feel less stressed. I don't have to worry, okay? But another thing, in order to really get her trust though, she needs to know that you'll take care of the environment, which is, I've proven to her with these dogs that if I'm next to her petting her and they come to pester her, I can tell them to leave. I can step in front of you and keep the world away. I can keep humans away, I can keep dogs away, I can keep everything away. So she sees that I can protect. But she also sees that if she crosses that line and tries to deal with the situation on her own, barking or doing anything like this, then she has me to deal with. That's the relationship dynamic. That's why she's not doing it. She's not doing it because I do it. And if she tries to do it, then I disagree with her. And when we disagree, there's consequences. So she wants to avoid that. She avoids it. If we get into a situation, I watch her purposely avoid taking that position and looks at me and says, what should I do? I say, you're the best dog in the world. And she says, oh, that's all I have to do is just sit here and not worry? Yeah, don't worry, I got this. Time goes on living like that, we get a dog who's confident and secure, and also a follower, because that's what we want. We want a dog who ultimately, at the end of the day, has decided to be a follower. They've submitted to being a follower. They like being a follower, okay? Good. What does it mean to be a follower? To listen. That's it. If we ask you to do something, please do it. If we ask you to stop doing something, please stop doing it. That's it. It's that simple. Good job, guys. Break.
Woo! Good girls. Good boy.
Yay, 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 ladies. Hello.
Good girl. See, they're leaving us alone, right? Because if they come and pester us, it's okay. I can tell them. Yes. She's a good girl. So, and the video's been long enough, but we'll end it with saying we go home and we give Vivian the lifestyle that, you know, you'll learn a lot of it on the go home, but cool. But basically it comes down to, we're gonna correct the things we don't like when we start to see it. And then after post-correction, we follow through with telling her what to do instead. And a lot of the times, it's gonna be based on the situation. We might have a command we can use, but a lot of times it's just stop what you're doing and relax. That's really what we want. And then they can take direction. But what happens is after, and you'll notice going home, is then they'll stop reacting and doing the bad behaviors, and they'll start offering the one that you've asked for yesterday. And then you're in a good spot, and life's good, and we're past all the little stuff, and we can move on.
Sweet she is.
She's a good baby girl. Yes, she is. She's a nervous little girl. You know, she's got her insecurities, but if she has a leader, she can make it through situations and actually have good associations to how to behave in pretty much any situation. Yeah, I'd say her most nerve-wracking situations are just. It seems to be more out in the world, doesn't it? Seems to be more of like environmental, like I don't understand the world kind of thing.
Yeah, she used to bark at all the noises and in her apartment too.
So without the barking, we're seeing a dog who's nervous because if I can't yell at it and keep it away, it could come and hurt me. But she's learning that nothing's hurting her. It takes time. The cars aren't gonna hurt you. The dogs walking by aren't gonna hurt you, and all that stuff. But you a good girl. Yes, you are. Okay.